Hello and welcome back to the Fermented World Homebrew channel. We're over this side of the kitchen, which means we're brewing beer. Today I am going to be brewing my version of a wheat beer. It's going to have marmalade in. Now, I don't know whether many of you have watched Paddington Bear movies or read the books when you were younger, or even watched the cartoon, which is what I did. Paddington Bear is like a standalone British hero, and he's just a made-up bear. But we're going to be brewing a wheat beer with some marmalade in. So this is going to be called Please Look After This Beer. Now, in the movies, there's always the letter that comes with the bear saying, please look after this bear. So that's where I've got the name from. It's cheesy, but, you know, it's easy being cheesy. 2.5 kilograms of wheat malt, and I'm going to be using 30 grams of roasted barley as well. I had to buy it in 100 grams because that's the smallest amount that you can buy from Brew Day. So we have got some of that going into a brown ale, which I'm attempting to brew a beer that's like Newcastle Brown. But we'll get to that another day. Now, I do not know how on earth you pronounce this. I have absolutely no idea. So I'm just going to call it hell, because there's no point me trying to flipping pronounce that. So we've got some hell hops, and we're going to be using Mangrove Jack's Bavarian wheat yeast M20. I'm only going to be using half a pack, and I'll save the other half for another beer. So first things first, we're going to need some water. I'm going to speed this up because these brew days take forever. In total, start to finish, around 5 hours. And you don't want to be listening to me chat crap for 5 hours. Normally, once I've edited it, I can condense it down to about an hour. But if I get it all sped up, you don't need to listen to me just continuously talking and trying to figure things to talk about. So, yeah. Okay, so that's the mash now started. The grain's in. Should be about 65 degrees. Let's quickly check that. Because if not, we're going to notch it up slightly. 65.2. So I always put it up to 70 degrees because of the way that I do things, this caveman way. The bag is cooler because it's obviously been rinsed and then it's in the air cooling down. So we're going to set an alarm for 1 hour, and we'll be back whenever this thing disappears and gets out of my way. So 1 hour mash time at 65 degrees, and we'll be back when it's time to sparge. heat is on. We're going to bring this up to the boil. I did have to scoop some out because somewhere along the line, I don't know how, I've got too much wort. I have no idea what happened. I did the normal amount for the mash, and I probably added an extra litre, come to think of it. I did 5 litres for the sparge, so that's why I've got a little bit more. But the reason why I added it is I normally have to dilute the wort because it's going to be too strong. So you can't win either way. But anywho, we've got some in there. Once this has started to boil, I'll then add that back to it. I don't want to add it now because the initial start of it will just overflow, because it was literally lapping over the bloody edge. So yeah, we're going to let this come up to the boil. We're going to bang in some hops. I have got some old ingredients to use up this time. This is some dried orange slices that I used for a chocolate orange porter, and that was using the liquid malt extract kits. So it was quite a while ago, and yeah, this is left over from that. So we're going to use some of the inner parts of that, about 16 grams worth in there. We've got some marmalade to go in, but I'm going to put that in towards the end, probably at the same time as the proctor flock. Well, that's the plan anyway. So the reason why I took out all of the rind, the peel, sorry, is because the white part of the peel can add bitterness. Now, I have saved them because I will find a use for them one way or another. So we just got loads of the rings left. I mean, the smell from them is sensational, and the chocolate orange porter worked really, really nice. So yeah, 16 grams of dried. Not sure what the equivalent to solid would be. You'd have to figure that out yourself, or just buy some dried and take out the thingies because we don't want them to add any extra bitterness. We've got the hell, which we're going to be weighing out now, actually, because we're going to need to pop that in just before it reaches the boil. My recipe says, our survey says 6 grams. Of hell hops. There we are. 6 grams. We'll wrap this back up. We are going to keep it out because we will be needing it again. And yeah, we're just going to wait for this to come to the boil. I'll be back. Okay, so again, this is quite an experimental beer. I've never used a beer with marmalade. I have made a mead with marmalade. Can't even remember whether it was actually recorded or not. We just put the marmalade in, and I opted to put the orange pieces in as well at the same time. So they've got about 10 minutes left. They went in at 15 minutes. They've already had 5. But the smell from that is lovely. I just really hope that we keep all of that. It's going to ferment, obviously. We want it to ferment. But I do hope that we keep that aroma and flavour in there as well. Because it is quite magical. It's either going to work really, really well, or it's not going to work at all. So the reason why I'm putting in the orange pieces is because I want to make sure that we've got some orange flavour in there, just in case all of the marmalade ferments. Now, I expect it to because it's just simple sugar, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so now we're chilling the worts down to 20 degrees. This is going to be fermenting in my beer fridge. I literally have a fridge just for beer. I bought it because I used to cold crash the beers in the bottle years ago. Now I do it while it's in the vessel if it needs cold crashing. Now we have got finings in here as well, Proctoflock. So this is going to chill down, and we'll pitch some yeast. So I've actually been going to be putting in the same amount, 16 grams of dried orange in there as well, minus the pith or the peel, whatever you want to call it, because we don't want that to add any bitterness. It smelled good as it was bubbling away once the marmalade had gone in. My only problem now is it may very well still be quite strong in sugar content, which means we could probably get something that's a little bit more high-end strength, which isn't a problem really. Not too bothered. I'll drink a strong beer. I'll drink a weak beer. I just don't want the alcohol to knock out the flavour from the marmalade, the orange, and the wheat. I don't think you could knock out the wheat flavour because literally only 30 grams of any other grain. You know what I mean? It was only 30 grams. The rest of it was 2.5 kilograms of wheat malt. So really simple grain bill, really. Shouldn't be too hard for people to get hold of. Some wheat malt to do this. Can't remember where I got the dried orange from. I think it might have been Amazon. But again, just trying to get it used up. So I am currently peeling some more. There's about 14 grams there. But this is going to go in as it ferments. So we're going to pitch the yeast. Then we're going to drop this in and then we'll mix it all together. It's just to try and give it a bit more flavour because it does have a bit of a marmalade flavour, but not quite sure whether it's going to work or what. It could be good, it could be bad, it could just be mediocre. But I'm sure we're going to find out. And now we wait. That actually came. Oh. We got more than expected, so we got 12 litres. Not bothered about an extra litre at all. I was tempted to dilute it simply because it's got it had a gravity of 60. Which means, I've already checked, if it ferments down to 1.010, so 10 points of fermentables, it's going to give us about 6.3. Now, am I bothered about that? No, I'm not. Because I think everything's like a little learning curve. You know? I think we'll know for next time that if it does work out and it's a nice beer, we'll know in future to use less grain. It was a 454 gram jar of the marmalade, and per 100 grams there was 66 grams of sugar. So that's where most of the fermentable sugars are coming from, I would say. Well, no, not most, a lot of. Now, again, you can adjust this to your own style and needs. If you don't want it to be 6.3, I'm sure it was 6.3. I'll put it up here, whatever it said it was. Or up here, or I don't know where I'm going to put it. I don't even know what I'm doing half the time. So what we could have done is quite possibly just done 2 kilograms of the wheat malt. I did want a picture of it on the spoon. Said picture grabbed. Now let's have a look at what the gravity is saying. Yeah, it's pretty much bob on the 60 still. Again, like I say, what we could have done is left out 0.5 kilogram of the wheat malt. I think you'd still want the same amount of roasted barley in there. Or roasted, what was it? It was roasted barley, wasn't it? I can't remember now. But anywho, that's where we're at. It's at 60. And we'll see what we get. A very drunk bear by the end of this one, apparently. So, we're going to pitch our yeast. I am quickly sterilising a muslin sock for the other dried orange. I'm going to use about 1/2 packet of this, like I say, because a whole packet of this will do 23 litres, and we've only got 12, so there's no need to use all of it. I'm going to get that in there. Make sure we've got about 1/2. That'll do. I think I've gone a bit over 1/2, but oh well. Doesn't tell me what its tolerance is. Oh, it does, but I've torn it off. Tolerance of 7.5%, which that's still pretty flipping high. But yeah, that's going to be a 7.5 maximum. I mean, obviously yeast doesn't come with instructions, so it doesn't actually know whether it's supposed to carry on or stop. It kind of just does what it likes until it doesn't anymore. So we're going to get this mixed in, and then we're going to add the orange. I want to do a good mix. I want to make sure that we're getting plenty of oxygen in there and making sure all of the yeast is mixed in nicely. There we go. Yeast officially mixed in. In with the other 16 grams of dried orange. And now I've just dropped some, so there's not 16 grams, but I'm not about to pick it back up because it's been on the floor. And this is sterile. Leave it. You're not having it, doggo. It's not for you. Now, if it was a scrap of meat or something, I'd let you have it, but... So, bosh, just like that. In that goes. We've done a hydrometer reading, but I am also going to be using the digital, as always. So I'm going to let that bob around for a little while. We're going to get the lid and attach said lid with the airlock of justice. And airlocks are just amazing. You know, they protect your beer, mead, anything, whatever. You know, nothing's getting through there. If it gets in, it ain't getting back out, that's for sure. So we're going to label this up, and I need to adjust the addition of the 16 grams. Well, it would have been 16 grams if I hadn't dropped the bloody bit on the floor. But yeah, it was intended to be 16. So we're going to label it up with a name. Today's date is 14th. This is going into the beer fridge on a heat mat and with something called an ink bird. Now, I'm quite new to the ink bird use, but it has made brewing in warm temperatures so much better. So, for example, my kitchen at the moment is 25, nearly 26 degrees. Even on the floor, I think I'd still be getting about 24, something like that. So it just means you can brew whatever style of beer you want at any time of year. So for lagers, you need a lower temperature anyway. So I have to brew it in a fridge to be able to get it lagered. It started off at 1.060 original gravity. And yeah, let's see what we get. Marmalade beer. Marmalade wheat beer. Thanks for watching. As always, guys, really do appreciate you joining me on these random ideas that I get. So yeah, stay awesome, and I'll see you all soon.